This is all actually like 1,000,000 times more weird and pathetic when you consider the fact that like Vaush is like this 31-year-old man-child that is like basically using this 17-year-old for research on his stream, and then he gets his entire community to gang up on him and kick him the out afterwards. And he's like twice his age. How can White Nervosa make that statement? It's just a flat-out lie.
Yeah. So
why would you quote somebody and then not quote
I don't
them?
know. Yeah, especially when it's such a significant part as well. They spend like the next paragraph arguing against the misrepresentation of the original claim that occurred. So they not only cropped it, but also like painted over it.
Yeah, that's really weird too, because they make it look like this is the entire email.
Where White Nervosa was tweeted out that I like agreed and consented to an operating protocol that I'd never even heard of, and that everyone I talked to about it had never heard of either. So like that entire thing where they just blatantly lie about my activity and the fact that I consented to something that I didn't.
So
yeah,
that's my brief introduction.
My favorite Nordic Zoomer, the research document that you pulled together for race and inequality was extremely poggers. It was extremely helpful in the conversation, friendly convo. The destiny I had with Stryker and James Alsop, so that was fun. And, you know, I used to do all my own research for my document, but then I realized that I like playing video games.
Outsource the labor.
Yeah, exactly, that I can outsource the labor to other people and have them do it for me. And it seems that you've foolishly fallen into my trap once more, that you are now here to provide me information for which I have provided you nothing.
Is this what it's just like? It's like the humiliation stream. You're just here to talk about how badly I fell into your trap. It's like the anime villain speech at the very end.
Yeah, that was going to be the first 20 minutes, and then the last 10 you can talk about your research.
All right. Well, I'm strapped in. I'm ready to go. Give it to me. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Do I just begin?
Yeah. It'll take me some time to read over all of this, but I'll probably have to use these arguments in the future. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your research.
Thank you. I mean, I really appreciate the opportunity. This is I like learning about stuff and telling people about stuff I learn. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, do you remember when do you remember the big Vaush research document that he would always bring up on stream? That I'm pretty sure that big research document was like hardcore, almost exclusively prepared for Vaush by Rosewrist. I don't know if anybody has a link to that document.
Do you want to walk?
Chill.
What?
Don't talk to you crazy.
Do you want to walk?
Nice. You just hovered the link. Wait, did I? Oh, this. Oh my god. Somebody linked. Are these Vaush's logs for it? Rosewrist did a ton of work on this. Vaush would have this link like everything back when he was doing real debates before he bitched out and he's just coasting on the rest of his crazy YouTube money before he can go back to live with mom and dad again. But when he was actually trying, yeah, this whole thing was like being hardcore worked on by Rosewrist. And this is, I guess is this Vaush's chat where they where they link to it? Damn, shamelessness. Oh, this entire section is credited to Rosewrist, a former guest of the stream. They are near entirely responsible for the collection of this data. Seriously, I just ripped most of this from their document with their permission, of course.
What's better?
These are some of the more common financing types for each of the different firms. And as we can see, there are ways for certain cooperatives to accumulate like outside equity through outside investments. However, here's a pretty important caveat there. Even though it's possible,
this is all actually like 1,000,000 times more fucking weird and pathetic when you consider the fact that like Vaush is like this 31-year-old fucking man-child that is like basically using this 17-year-old for research on his stream, and then he gets his entire fucking community to gang up on him and kick him the fuck out afterwards. And he's like twice his age. Like, bro, come on, are you serious? It's like fucking weird. Jesus.
Cooperatives to
like a true communist. Based. Rosewrist is 17. I think he's 18 or 19 now. This is in 2021 though. I don't know how old he was at this. Oh shit, I didn't see this. A recent Vaush subreddit thread about Rose. Are we going a little too hard on Rosewrist 2 hours ago? Like, give me a reason, a great reason why this person is as horrible as everyone keeps telling me. I'm pretty sure he's not good terms with Vaush's content isn't right wing. Considering Rose was involved in the creation of a document that calls for Cloudflare to reinstate Kiwi Farms and stands by his endorsement of said document, I can't support that behavior. As the saying goes, if you lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas. I'm not sure how hard you've seen. I don't know how you see things hard. But he's basically backing the unhinged manifesto shit coming out of a guy online. So, like, I did enjoy his content and everything. Just think he's lost the plot in a way I do not vibe with. It's so funny, too, that, like... So, how am I spite-driven? Well, when you cover Vaush... Even though you listed like 50 examples of you being charitable towards him, I don't think you're as charitable as you should be. So you're actually unhinged and psychotic. Okay, well, what are you guys doing? Well, Rosewrist did a grammar and fact check on your manifesto. So we destroyed his website. We did a website redirect to our own project. Also, we permabanned him and kicked him out of a community that he's probably poured like dozens of hours of research into because he's associated with you. But you're the spite-driven one, by the way. Okay. On the 20th of August, 2020, White Nervosa and I started chatting regarding setting up a streaming website using whiteleaf.af, which later turned into white4.st. At the time, White Nervosa stated that the ambition for the website was providing a permanent place for your content, so Twitch bans you, that you can go to YouTube and your live page stays the same. Wow, what a crazy... Huh. Interesting, okay. Good concept. Now here I am, just over 2 years later, not banned from Twitch, but blacklisted from all white4.st services. I'm just gonna say White Forest services. My goal with this write-up is to share my experience as an ex-client of White Forest. First of all, I would like to note that I'm extremely appreciative of White Nervosa and White Forest for the 2 years of work they dedicated free of charge to maintaining my website. I have no complaints regarding the bulk of my business relationship with them. However, a number of fairly egregious and unprofessional acts were conducted against me over the past few weeks, and it is those that I want to speak of here. On the 6th of October 2022, I received a DM from a community member of mine asking if I had sold my domain name. I thought this was strange, as I had just a few weeks prior renewed my domain lease for another year. I decided to load up my website to see what they were on about, and when I entered the URL to rosewrist.com, I was then redirected to dropkiwifarms.net. Drop Kiwi Farms is the website of streamer and activist Keffels, who I had recently assisted in writing a critical exposition about. This was extremely concerning, so I immediately messaged White Nervosa, who runs White Forest, inquiring about the redirection. When I asked about the changes to the website, I was told that White Forest has voted to discontinue service to your site. I wish you the best of luck. Nice, very professional. At this point, I realized that White Nervosa and White Forest had, with no notice, not only removed my website, but put in place a redirect to Keffels' Drop Kiwi Farms campaign page. I archived Rosewrist's site when it was redirecting. Oh yeah, how gross. They set it up so that it did a redirect to the Drop Kiwi Farms. This is all because I reviewed and revised the Keffels exposition for grammar, internal coherence, and substantiation. Given what their behavior so far told me about their conviction and the reasons behind their actions, I realized there was little point in arguing, and I just made the simple request to stop the redirection to dropkiwifarms.net. This could have been done through, for example, utilizing the website under maintenance page that they used for other websites not in operation. A point of note here is that I am extremely amateurish when it comes to anything computer science related, and White Nervosa is well aware of this. About 70% of our chat logs are filled with them explaining what are likely very basic concepts in the realm of website building and maintenance. To name just one such instance, my third Discord message to them asked what embedding a video meant. However, despite this very well-established history of my technological shortcomings, I was treated with very curt and condescending responses to this simple request. While it is true that I could have simply changed the DNS settings for my domain to detach it from the White Forest servers, I had no idea how to do this, and I ended up having to call my domain provider support channel for assistance. White Nervosa refused to stop the redirection, weaponized my technological ineptitude to patronize me in direct messages, and later made fun of me in a Twitter post. Here are my full DMs with White Nervosa. Just a quick note, because some people were saying that all of this was Rosewrist's fault. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry. I wanted to explain this real quick on different ways that redirects could work from websites, because some people were confused about this. So when I go to a website, like let's say that I go to www.destiny.gg, when I type in that URL, This URL is going to somebody that has, are they called A records? I don't know, it's not really that important. But there's going to be some registrar that is basically holding, that is basically like saying like, okay, you've entered in this string of text. We're going to redirect it to some IP address, right? Boom, boom, boom. Okay. This is a very casual understanding, so I could be wrong, but kill yourself. So the IP address is going to go to like a particular web server. There you go. Okay. So when you go to destiny.gg, what happens is there's a registrar that says, oh, you're typing in that URL. Well, we're going to go ahead and point you to a web server, and that's what's hosting my website, basically. What White Nervosa did was, now, technically, Rosewrist has control over the registrar. He's the one that can point the DNS, the domain name server, to another server if he wants to. White Nervosa did not do the redirect here at the DNS level, right? What White Nervosa did was she changed what was on the web server to redirect here to the Drop Kiwi Farms webpage, if that makes sense. So the reason why people were making fun of Rosewrist on Twitter and calling him retarded was because because technically he could avoid it by changing the records here on his DNS, but he didn't know how to because he's not very tech savvy, and she was doing the redirect down here on the actual web server itself. Does that make sense? I don't know if this matters or not, but some people were trying to say, oh, it's all Rosewrist's fault. It's not really his fault. He just doesn't know the difference between the two. He wasn't tech savvy enough to figure it out. And White Nervosa knew that and capitalized on that. How would you change a DNS registrar? Isn't that hosted? Well, you would log into whoever your registrar is, and you say like, hey, I want to point these records towards a different IP address, basically. Not to shit on him, but changing the DNS records is literally 2 minutes. If you know what you're doing, yeah, it's easy, obviously. But not everybody knows. Not everybody knows how to do it, obviously. Okay. Okay, I understand. Can you then fully detach all your stuff from my purchased domain so that it's just a dead link? You own the domain, ... Yes, but as you know, I'm not particularly adept when it comes to the website stuff. I could probably figure out how to disconnect it myself, but I just wanted to ask. Cake charges $3,000 and $150 a month for the service you're given. You cannot ask me for help here, no. Now, White Nervosa is totally within her right. Does Rosewrist own the DNS records? Yes. Yes, White Nervosa is totally within her rights here to like discontinue services if she wants to, but the redirect is a huge dick move, knowing that he doesn't know how to like change his domain service. That's pretty predatory. To be clear, it's your domain. If you don't understand, I cannot detach it from my servers. That is not my problem. Good luck. Your words ring hollow, but I hope you grow. Yeah, that's just her being a piece of shit. But okay. This point I realize, okay, we already read all this. Okay. In the Twitter post, White Nervosa carefully selects a portion of the DMs with the caption, choose the company you keep carefully. This selected screenshot demonstrates my technological ineptitude, but it excludes the mentions of the redirecting to Drop Kiwi Farms and my respectful thank you for their services. Many of the comments ridiculed me for my lack of technological proficiency, including one of the few comments she decided to respond to. If he controls the zone, he's the only one who can change the A records that point to the domain to your server. ... Yep. So this is true, but she's doing a website. She's actually redirecting on the web server, which makes her a piece of shit. Like they're capitalizing on his misunderstanding here, but like that kind of makes you the dick if you're doing a redirect on his web server instead of just saying the website is offline or there's like a maintenance thing or whatever. Like that's pretty shitty to do. It was, however, entirely within White Nervosa's power to stop the redirection to dropkiwifarms.net, but since she neglected to include that portion of our DMs, none of the people commenting would be aware of it and call it out. At this point, I called my domain provider to change the DNS settings to my domain and get rosewrist.com to redirect my Twitter page instead of White Forest servers. Given the way that White Nervosa and White Forest have demonstrated their capacity to abuse entities of mine that they had access to, I wanted to sever all possible connections any of my accounts had to the White Forest servers. White Forest services. I got in contact with Cake, who helped me remove a range of different connections and permissions that White Forest had of mine. These included PayPal API keys, linked Google accounts, and Streamlabs connections. I still have been given no word from White Nervosa or White Forest regarding how they would handle these sensitive connections and permissions they still had after discontinuing my services. They did not even inform me about the existence of these remaining connections and permissions. I have similarly not received word regarding how they would handle the personal information of all the users who signed up on my website. I filed a GDPR request as an EU citizen to White Forest to get them to remove all of my personal information they still have on me. If you signed up on my website and are likewise worried about White Forest potential usage of information, permissions against you, I recommend you do the same. Also, feel free to visit the following links to disconnect your accounts from White Forest services. I sent my GDPR request on Thursday, the 6th of October, and as of the making of this, I still have not received a reply. I just need to shut up! I need to shut him off! I need to shut off DMs. I'm sorry. Thus far, I have 7 major complaints to levy about the behavior of White Nervosa and White Forest. I was not given an opportunity to make my case when White Forest voted to discontinue service. Why did Rosewrist use White Nervosa's services if he knows that she hates you when he interacts with you? Why did he... Oh, probably because he didn't think they'd be this crazy. Wait, did I really get a 1 million view video shouting at Lav? Oh, no.
Because
That's
no
not fair.
one has an internal experience of...
She's gonna hate me. Everybody... I'm so sorry. I was not even given notice that such a vote was happening. I was not given notice that services to my website had stopped and only found out through a community member of mine several days later. I did not consent to White Forest and White Nervosa changing the server connected to my domain to make it redirect to a website that they knew I was opposed to. I paused this, right? I did. She has like 10 million view videos on TikTok. She's fine. Okay. I did not consent to White Forest, White Nervosa changing the server connected to my domain to make it redirect to a website they knew I was opposed to. I was not given notice that this redirection was happening. I did get treated very rudely by White Nervosa when I inquired into the direction or into the changes on the website when I politely made a request to stop the redirection. I did get publicly ridiculed for this interaction by White Nervosa through a Twitter post. I did not receive any follow-up regarding the handling of sensitive connections slash information of mine or of the users on my website, and I did not receive any assistance with resetting my DNS settings from White Nervosa, who knew I was incapable of doing so myself. Here, I'm linking an Instagram post for people who are signal boosting. Did White Nervosa's Twitter get banned? Probably not. I think these people are like, they always like private and unprivate their stuff because they like get nervous or something. I did not receive any assistance with resetting my DNS settings from White Nervosa, who knew I was incapable of doing so myself. The fact that you as a client of White Forest can, 1, without notice or chance to defend yourself, get your services discontinued, get your domain redirecting to a website you're publicly opposed to, get patronized in DMs by a White Forest representative, get publicly ridiculed by a White Forest representative, get no word regarding the handling of sensitive connections slash information, and get no assistance in resetting domains bought for the purpose of utilizing White Forest services, should pose serious concerns for anyone considering turning to White Forest for their services. This is especially true for prospective clients who, like myself, do not themselves possess a comprehensive understanding of the ins and outs of website development and maintenance, as White Forest has shown a willingness to use the lack of knowledge against you. But what is perhaps more bizarre than all of this are the events that followed over the next few days. Uh-oh. On the 6th of October, prolific Twitter user @necroliberalism made a tweet stating what had happened with my website, attached proof of redirection and the full DM logs that I provided them. This tweet garnered a lot of attention, eventually accumulating over 2,000 likes. In the midst of this, I made a tweet of my own in which I thanked all of the people who had reached out to me offering their technical assistance in light of what happened and informed them that I had stopped the redirecting. This tweet, as of right now, has over 2,200 likes. The responses were overwhelmingly supportive of myself and condemnatory of the actions of White Nervosa and White Forest. A few hours later, White Nervosa makes a follow-up tweet to the selection of the DMs they had previously made public, stating that I do regret tweeting. I do regret tweeting. You think you can say that 5 times fast? Regret tweeting, regret tweeting, regret tweeting. No shot. I do regret tweeting the final exchange between Rosewrist and I do not regret White Forest's decision. White Nervosa also privately messaged me, stating that they apologized for how they acted and that they were tired when interacting with me previously and that they don't wish to see me deplatformed. I'd like to apologize for how I acted. It being nearly 5 a.m. I had been trying to sleep for several hours, so I wasn't in the best state of mind, but that isn't an excuse. I truly don't wish you deplatformed. Then why would you deplatform him? They voted at 5 a.m.? Who the fuck knows, dude? They also confirmed being intoxicated when speaking to me, which, needless to say, is certainly not appropriate professional conduct when speaking to an ex-client. I told them I appreciate the apology. Unfortunately, it is impossible to divorce the motivations behind the apology from the circumstances. While I would like to think that this apology came exclusively from a place of genuine regret, it is not lost on me that this only came on the back end of significant backlash against them and White Forest services. White Nervosa, being a system administrator for White Forest, is incentivized to make a statement regarding their previous actions in order to maintain White Forest's public image. In fact, if I was a shareholder in White Forest, I would have demanded that White Nervosa make a statement. However, it is still important to note the apology was exclusively for the public ridiculing and misrepresentation of private messages and their conduct in that private exchange. In follow-up tweets, they emphasize they had no issues with the redirect to kiwifarms.net, for example. No omission of wrongdoing or apology was ever issued for the drop Kiwi Farm site is absolutely not contextually relevant. He called Keffels a terrorist for attempting to get Kiwi Farms taken down. Damn. Now, my community hates White Nervosa way more than I do, but I'm usually, like, generally pretty charitable towards her. I wouldn't actually think she would tweet something this stupid. So you're purposefully redirecting his domain name to a website for a cause he specifically does not agree with, and that's somehow morally okay to you? Yes. It's actually so fucked. This is pretty fucked. Like, it is still important to note your access to the file has changed. Okay. It is still important to note that the apology was exclusively for the public ridiculing and misrepresentation of private messages, and follow-up tweets that emphasize they had no issues with the redirect to kiwifarms.net, for example. No admission of wrongdoing or apology was ever issued for not being given a chance to make my case during the White Forest vote, not even informing me that such a vote was taking place, not informing me that service on my website had been discontinued, redirecting the server, my domain was pointing to a website I'm publicly opposed to. I think we're just restating stuff. Not following up providing information regarding the handling of my and my chowder sensitive information and connections, not assisting a technologically inept ex-client in resetting a domain explicitly purchased for the utilization of their services. Additionally, White Nervosa and White Forest went on to make new, completely absurd justifications for their actions, and a series of tweets, White Nervosa goes on to make the following claims. I was aware of and agreed to White Forest standard operating procedures, which delineates that 3 months worth of inactivity is just cause to have a vote on whether or not to maintain the website. 2, my website was inactive for 3 months. 3, the vote formally stated that the discontinuation of services to my website was contingent on the continuation of my endorsement of the Keffels exposition. And 4, I requested the deletion of my website. Every single one of these claims are, without exception, complete falsehoods. First of all, I've never in my 2 years of utilizing White Forest services been informed about, let alone agreed to, any standard operating procedure with regard to inactivity. People's need to have an evil villain to oppose is overwhelming. You literally are acting like an evil villain. Like, how can you really, like, be upset about that? Like, White Forest discontinues sites that have been inactive for more than 90 days. When this happens, there is a default screen for it. There's nothing to catch, if there's nothing to catch the URL. Has anybody else's website ever been deactivated? Has anybody else's website been inactive for 90 days or more? Rosewrist had passed this mark, handling over 24 websites. It wasn't a top priority. After he contributed to and endorsed a document calling for Cloudflare to protect Kiwi Farms and peddles the conspiracy that Near didn't kill themselves, it became a priority. Jesus. This was Sunday. He didn't notice until Wednesday, which is when I acted poorly towards them. I regret that and apologize. Anyone who claims it's because he dared attack Keffels ignores he streamed in July critiquing Keffels. This was not the issue. You can pretend. Wait, why would you say it wasn't about him attacking Keffels and then up here saying after he contributed and endorsed a document criticizing Keffels? Like, what? I take it Doe's site is still up because tweets count as content. No streams for 6 months. And why do the leaked DMs mention nothing about this? Rose is a student, he's probably super busy with school. Doe's had donations every month, including October. Doe hasn't streamed in 6 months? It's been over an hour, can I donate again? Jetliner X, chill. But I love you. Nothing was deleted until he requested it to be? That's probably a lie. Jesus. In fact, I even reached out to 4 other people who have White Forest websites to see if they were aware of or had ever agreed to any such stipulations. These 4 were Dylan Burns, Counterpoint's Heem, and 1 more who wished to remain anonymous. I asked them if they'd ever seen, heard of, or agreed to White Forest standard operating procedures, or if they were aware of any guidelines stating that a certain period of inactivity permitted discontinuation of services. All 4 of them ubiquitously answered no to all of these questions. Everyone who has been named consented to me naming them in this write-up. However, it should not be inferred that them answering my questions confers with it a wholesale endorsement of my stance. All in all, White Nervosa's claim that I was informed of and even consented to an agreement which I and everyone I had consulted had never even heard of. Secondly, my website was not inactive for 3 months. I streamed a total of 9 times in the 90 days preceding the removal of my website, which occurred on Sunday, October 2nd, according to an admission of White Nervosa themselves. Each and every stream was embedded on rosewrist.com. This was Sunday. He didn't notice until Wednesday, which is when I acted poorly towards him. I regret that and apologize. Anyone claims it's because he couldn't... Oh. Furthermore, there were ongoing subscriptions to my website at this time, as is shown by the chatters with blue names in these VODs. User Demon, for example, had an ongoing subscription during my stream on August 30th. I even got a direct dono through the website on July 10th, 84 days before my website was removed. I also have multiple PayPal receipts of donations and subscriptions coming from private individuals throughout the 90-day time period. For those who don't know, donations from YouTube and Twitch are not sent individually. Oh, so White Nervosa is literally lying! Literally lying! Either White Forest internal data collection is not functioning or they're blatantly lying about my activity. The former issue could have been avoided if they'd given me any insight into their internal workings or decision making or given me the opportunity to make my case. If it's the latter, there's not much I could have done about that. Furthermore... Oh, I just got an interesting DM. I've been informed. I cannot name names. But apparently multiple White Leaf sites have been active for 90 plus days and no one has ever had an issue with this. This was the first one that was ever redirected. That's from an anonymous insider. Okay. Furthermore, I wish to make a comment on the language of this tweet from White Nervosa. The language, then I told him it's his domain to redirect elsewhere, implies that White Nervosa proactively reached out to inform me of this, when really they condescendingly told me after I brought it up with them almost 4 days after the redirection began. The claim that the vote to discontinue my service was to formally state it would not be brought back up, assuming he maintained his endorsement. Similarly to the first claim, it is being implied here that I'm aware of or have understood something that I haven't. I have no idea when or where this was formally stated. As to reiterate again, I was given no notice or insight into anything going on at White Forest regarding the handling of my website. Furthermore, I was completely unaware that the discontinuation of service to the website was contingent on my maintained endorsement of the exposition. This was never communicated to me. As far as I was concerned, my website and codebase had been entirely wiped and this decision was permanent. Finally, I want to address the claim that nothing was deleted until he requested it be. The only thing I ever requested in DMs was that White Nervosa do is fully detach all your stuff from my purchased domain. My way of ineptly expressing a request to stop the connection of my domain to White Forest servers and to stop doing something to redirect it to drop Kiwi farms. Neither of these statements can in any way be interpreted as me saying to remove all my website code as White Nervosa is claiming I did here. It may be the case that the request White Nervosa is referring to as my GDPR request. The issue with that interpretation is that my email clearly states that they should confirm deletion in writing. This has not been done yet. Furthermore, taking a request to delete all data related to accounts, users, or clients connected to rosewrist404@gmail.com to mean a request to wipe the entire codebase is highly unreasonable. In conclusion, I'm extremely disappointed with the deeply unprofessional and egregious behavior of White Nervosa and White Forest in regards to how they went about discontinuing my service. Every step of the process, from the refusal to inform me about anything going on to the flagrant lies told about me after the fact, should raise concern for anyone thinking of or currently utilizing White Forest services. I do not want to dedicate a substantial portion of this document to addressing the core reason behind them ceasing the services, namely my work on the Keffel's exposition and its contents, since all of the critiques in this write-up stand independently regardless of the underlying cause. This is what I will say, though. For a community that has long appreciated me for my in-depth research and information compilation skills, they spend extraordinarily little time and effort honestly engaging with the material I collaborated in producing. The claims, for example, that the exposition unreasonably cast doubt on individual suicides or that we are in favor of or principally calling for the reinstatement of Kiwi farms is absurd. This is obviously the case to anyone who's taken the time to honestly read the exposition. I find this knee-jerk reaction to immediately blacklist me from everything with their power for my contribution in this exposition extremely disappointing and disheartening. I would also like to extend my gratitude to Annadelle, who intimately intimately helped me in putting together this write-up. I would like to thank Cake for their help in disconnecting any remaining connections, keys, and accounts from White Forest. Finally, I would also like to thank Destiny, DG, and countless others who've been tremendously supportive throughout this whole ordeal. Wow. I heard Cake only charged him $3,000. Hop on. Oh, also, apparently, I think he was banned from Vaush's subreddit too. Can somebody confirm or deny if that's true? After putting together
You think this article author
Vaush
was the one
research
Paul
docs.
said he was in contact with?
1 sec. Oh, it's Discord. Quick backstory. White Forest didn't exist when Rose's site started. October 2020 to April 2021, I paid for each site. Without issue into October 2022, when Rose made a public statement of contribution and endorsement for a document we took issue with. He disputes the reasons we took issue with this document, saying the claims that the document cast out on individual suicides or that we were in favor of or principally calling for the reinstatement of Kiwi Farms is absurd. In this document, it states it would be my hope after this document that Cloudflare releases a more concise statement for dropping Kiwi Farms or else reinstates their service. Rose's statement is probably a bit too far here, but Cloudflare does need to release a better statement because the one that they released is unacceptable, and the reasons given are unacceptable. That's just a fact. The only way you can disagree with that is if you're too politically poisoned in one direction to care, or you're like from Vaush's community where you think that like torture, murder, and rape are okay as long as you do them to political opponents. That's just so obvious. Oh fuck, there was a really good there's a really good post in Vaush's subreddit last night. I love the whole dichotomy of like punishment is for rehabilitation or jail should be for rehabilitation until it's somebody that you don't like. Vaush's subreddit encapsulates that perfectly. I feel like you believe in punishment instead of rehabilitative justice. I'm okay with taking all of his money. I don't want even bad people to be homeless. What's wrong with you? Do you have any morals? So this is what you would expect a progressive or left-leaning person to have when it comes to punishment. Most upvoted response, fuck you, pal. I hope he suffers, losing everything. I want to see headlines in the news about how Jones offed himself after living in the streets for months. He made a career of scamming people out of their money for shit that is nothing. He got his followers to harass and intimidate the poor parents that lost their children in the shooting. Some had to move homes because it got so bad. He knows this is all bullshit, but he doesn't care what happened. He just wants the money. Like, Alex Jones deserves the worst fate imaginable. He deserves ALS. You're exaggerating. If he deserves the worst, what do we do about war criminals, serial killers, etc.? There are people who are way, way worse than him. I can't help but read these. If he deserves the worst fate imaginable, then what do we do with war criminals and serial killers? Are you saying they should get better fates than Alex Jones? Comments in Ben Shapiro's voice. Like, it's a perfect callback to that essay that I read for you guys. I can tolerate any group except the out group. Like, you don't. Forgiveness and compassion don't work when you only extend them to people that you don't think need forgiveness and compassion. It doesn't work that way. Isn't Alex Jones one of the worst people on Earth? No? What? Alex Jones is a pretty bad dude, and he's got a really bad reach, or big reach. But one of the worst people on Earth? Oh, hold on. Does he own a pit bull? Because maybe then. Name 5 worst people right now. Jackie Chan. Shit. Destiny explain. If you only have empathy for people in your in-group, you don't have empathy. Yeah, that's not empathy. But I think this probably extends to most people.
The reason that I'm white passing is because my mom is white and so is my dad. The reason that I'm white passing is because my mom is white and so is my dad.
sorry. We got off from this. For casting doubt, the statement near someone claimed to have committed suicide would raise a red flag. This leads to the misleading statement, no news of David Geinder's an American suicide in Tokyo ever emerged. Odd because it leads to a citation of 7 different news outlets reporting on this, one confirming their death. Why did she not even read my fucking document? The whole point was that all 7 news outlets were just reporting on the tweet or a statement. That's it. Even this one just said that Wayne Beckett confirmed Geinder's death. But there was still no public to this date, although for other reasons that I can't disclose, I do think Nero is dead. But nothing has actually been released that proves it. Or there's been no public statements, there's no record, there's no obituary, there's no news articles, there's nothing. There's just this one thing, this one statement from this really fucking weird guy, who is really fucking weird, by the way. We saw his post on Kiwi Farms. Point by point, Rose expected an apology for these. I will explain why it is silly, ignorant, or superfluous. 1, not being given a chance to make my case during the White Forest vote. You are not a member of White Forest. You could make your case after you were told this, but instead you said, okay, I understand. Why would you try to argue after this? Fuck, White Nervosa is actually autistic as fuck. White Forest has voted to discontinue service to your site. I wish you the best of luck. That's not an opportunity to make your case. That's a termination of service. You fucking moron. Not informing me that such a vote was taking place. You're not a member of White Forest. Not informing me that the service to my website had been discontinued. This is not new and not unique to Rose. It is needless. They aren't using the site. Rose didn't notice for over 4 days. Community member asked them if they'd sold their domain. Okay. Redirecting the server, my domain was pointing to a website I'm publicly opposed to. You're publicly opposed to dropkiwifarms.net. You do know that it was successful in getting Cloudflare to drop Kiwi Farms, which you said thinking you were opposed to was absurd. Kevils didn't make the site, I didn't host it, but otherwise still, being against something because it has a Kevils emote on the site is reactionary by definition? What? It might just be that he's opposed to it because this entire movement has been like involved in like a lot of kind of really shady stuff. It's supported by shady people. A lot of the claims made are like not that great. I want to be able to
watch for a while, so I hope you stay platform well and gone.
Or it might even just be the fact that you're redirecting to a site that's soliciting donations that like he doesn't want to be a part of. Like that's such a weird thing to take issue with. I like the witch hunter. You're opposed to drop Kiwi Farms? You must be a horrible person. You must be a Nazi then. Not following up providing information regarding handling my chatter sensitive information connections. You later state that your site's data was deleted upon your request, but that wasn't what you meant by that request. I'm unsure if you wrote this in parts of that revision. A site's data being deleted, like all the website related stuff, doesn't necessarily mean customer information has been deleted, but my knee-jerk was to wonder why you didn't search how you pointed your domain to our servers and do that process in reverse. Upon looking it up, I discovered you knew how to do it. Your ineptitude varies depending on how it looks. Swapperino your domain's name servers to this from this Rosewrist question mark. Oh, moving all the sites behind the same security VGG is. So first step is behind Cloudflare and then more memes. Oh, nice. Do I have to do anything after that? Not nice. Wait, this makes it sound like he literally didn't know what to do. She's literally telling him. So these are the register. So if you log into whatever your DNS provider is, she's literally telling him which like A records or whatever to swap around. It looks like he clearly doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. She's telling him what to do. Wait, what are you doing? Upon looking it up, I discovered you knew how to do it. Do I have to do anything? He literally doesn't know. What? I acted poorly towards Rose in the first message. We apologized to them the following morning. They condemn my intoxication and insomnia as not professional conduct. Shining on the issue, the best is it suggests that when someone sends me a message on my personal account at 4 a.m., I'm representing anyone but myself. This is DMing a McDonald's employee because your order was fucked up. No, it's not. You're the one that's telling him personally that you're cutting services off to his website. It's not the same thing at all.
Destiny. Dropping a Destiny manifesto style video about a Prime Case panel I was on and some drama that happened after. Would love your criticism when it comes out.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. What an unbelievably stupid post. There's a reply in the comments that picks it apart point by point. Oh, wait, this? Oh, Jesus. I have a question concerning what you wrote. In paragraph 4, you state that the document links to an article confirming David Gunder's death, and looking further, the confirmation comes from Wayne Beckett. The document does mention Wayne by name, and the main contention with him was that there was no way to verify what Wayne was saying was true. So the document writer proceeds to show that it is irresponsible for the article to state Wayne's statement as fact because there's no verifiable evidence beyond Wayne's statement. Any comment on this? Also, I had questions about your contentions with Rosewrist points, but I noticed that I wasn't able to find them linked in the article, but I found them here. I believe that his main contention was not, was that he was not given notice prior to reading his website. Blah, blah, blah. Do I care about all this? He said he received no word on how you're handling sensitive connections and permissions of the user sent up to his website. Will you give a statement on that? To an outside party, it looks like from the messages, Rosewrist hasn't fully understood. Okay, yeah. Damn, okay. She's pretty dumb. Fuck, I've been way too charitable to her in the past, I think. Usually when RTB or Cake is messaging me, I'm usually the one that's kind of, because they're, I think RTB and Cake really hate White Nervosa, and I've always just been like, I think she's kind of annoying. But I don't like hate her. But now after reading these, now I think maybe she's a lot more stupid than I initially had assumed. She's also responding with these tweets. The most tragic part of this is that Rosewrist is chasing the initial...
This just in, being drunk on the job is not unprofessional conduct.
Rose is chasing the initial attention he got from Destiny using him. Like RGR, they feign affection, care... Oh, she is actually functionally retarded. High functioning, I guess, but... There's like this thing that like people like... It is... It's so... The mind-boggling part is that Vaush's community should know better because people do this to Vaush. There is a such thing as Vaush derangement syndrome, but like this is Destiny derangement syndrome. Like, yeah, there are people that I interact with, but like to say that every single future interaction is them just like chasing the dragon of getting a positive like approval of me or from me or that like my kid is like, it's so fucking cringe. Most tragic part of this is that Rosewrist is chasing the initial attention he got from Destiny using him. Like RGR, they feign affection. Is that my community or me? My community feigns affection, care, love, then you're boring. Like, RGR and Rose are always willing to come on and chat about things. Like, that's never changed. RGR quit online stuff because crazy trans people online witch hunted the fuck out of her entire career, tried to get her banned from the bar, tried to get her organization in trouble that she's working with, tried to like fucking do shit with it. Like her life got absolutely witch hunted to death by people. That's why she quit online stuff. It wasn't because of my community. Rosewrist is like an 18-year-old or 19-year-old dude still doing school full time. Allow this to be a larger statement on those who look towards DGG for a place to be rather than a place to move from. They don't watch your content, never. You're nothing but a tool to them. This isn't picking sides. This is understanding this isn't a place for growth. What, and Vaush's place is? How many successful... Your whole community only exists because it spun out of mine. How is it not a place to grow? How can White Nervosa make that statement? You exist in a community that only exists because I allowed it to grow from mine, Vaush's community. Your whole existence online and job only exists because I open sourced my website and you were allowed to grow off of it like a fucking tumor. You literally don't exist without me on the internet. You don't have a community to exist in and you don't have a project to work on. Her whole online life is literally owed to me. How could she even say something this stupid? Like, not to sound like arrogant, but like seriously, your whole platform is forked off of a code base that I open sourced, that I paid money for. The only reason you exist online is because of me, and the community you exist in is Vaush, which came from me. What the fuck? It's unreal. I don't even know what to say. What are these logs? We can do a trickery do here. We can replace all of Vaush's nameplates in the logs to be Irish Letty. So per se, this does end up being YouTube video. Then it'll be, oh, I don't care. This is just about the Vaush Poppy shit. How many successful streamers have been spun out of Vaush's community? I'm trying to think. Demon Mama? I don't even know if she still streams. I don't even know if I would call this successful. Also, I don't even know if Demon Mama grew because of Vaush or because of her initial conversations with me. Jesus Christ. Oh, this is like brain rotting. I can't believe White Nervosa would say something so stupid. Well, she's working off of my forked code base. It's unbelievable. I actually can't believe it. What's up? ID yourself so the chat knows, because apparently they don't remember your voice.
I'm Rosewrist. That's me. I am that person.
Cool.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention basically a few of the things about the response. I don't know if you were able to pick up on a quick read through that I thought would be cool to point out.
Yeah, point away, bud.
So, yeah, do you have it open on your end?
No, but we read it earlier. We know all of it. We remembered it. Go ahead.
Okay. So I did a bigger breakdown that took like a while on Relevant stream a bit earlier, so I'm not going to get into nearly as much detail.
Okay.
But I think some of the significant things here, for example, are in the second paragraph, White Nervosa writes, he disputes the reasons we took issue with this, saying, quote, the claims that the document cast doubt on individual suicides or that we are in favor of or principally calling for the reinstatement of Kiwi farms is absurd. So a really cool thing here is that they put quotation marks, but they also excluded the word unreasonable that I had when I wrote that the document unreasonably cast doubt on individual suicides, which is a big no-no. If you ever use quotation marks, you want to do it verbatim.
Wait a second, hold on. I want to see this exact quote.
Okay. Do you have my writing open as well? I can send you both if you'd like. Here is my doc, and then let me open do you have White Nervosa's Medium open?
No, link me that one too. Hold on.
I'm trying to find that at the moment. I have one, but it's through an archive link because these people like to edit and delete stuff. But if you can open it there. So tell me when you have both my article or my write-up and White Nervosa's article open.
Okay, where does she quote you?
Okay, so if you go to my doc and you go to the very bottom of it, in the second to last paragraph, like 2/3 of the way down, there's a sentence that goes, the claims, for example, that the exposition unreasonably cast doubt on individual suicides, whether we're in favor of. Exactly. And then when they quote it in their doc, they exclude the word unreasonable. They just remove that and claim that I'm saying that the doc.
Oh, and they don't even put like a ... or anything. It's it's actually just a misquote.
Yep. That's a big no-no.
Well, it's just a flat out lie.
Yeah. So
why would you quote somebody and then not quote?
I don't know.
It's so annoying too, because when I write my shit, like I'm like autistically like, okay, I'm omitting something here, ... I'm doing a new pronoun here. I need to use brackets. I need to, and they just like actually she just like lies.
It's like, if it would paraphrase, then would there be something, but if you're gonna put quotation marks, you copy it verbatim.
Well, like, and not to mention the fact that this document, the word document in brackets implies that this is a direct quotation. Yeah, it's strange too, because like when you're writing something like this, this is a little bit JCS, or like I'm doing a little psychoanalyzing, but like when you're writing something like this, it's unlikely that you would probably retype your entire quote from your Google Doc. You're probably copy pasting it.
Yep.
So they copy pasted it and then deleted a word. That's a lot of omission, if that's going. But okay, sorry.
Pretty wacky. I would agree.
Quite wacky, but okay. Sorry.
Yeah, and like I'm still in university for stuff. Like you would get instantly sent to like the exam committee if you ever put quotation marks and remove.
Yeah. Or I would get banished to like the shadow realm if I were to do this to somebody like Keffels. If I were to quote somebody and then omit part of the quote like that and put but
Yeah, especially when it's such a significant part as well, where they spend like the next paragraph arguing about or arguing against the misrepresentation of the original claim that occurred and that stemmed from the exclusion of that word. Yeah. That's some pretty crazy stuff.
Pretty wacky.
That was one of the things. Pretty wacky indeed. And then the stuff about and then they argue essentially that we do cast doubt upon suicide, which is true, but the whole thing is like, I don't think White Nervosa, anybody else would have any issue if somebody cast doubt on like for example, like the suicide of Epstein or like Putin's political opponents. Like the act of casting doubt.
Oh, true!
Isn't bad.
Yeah, the Epstein thing. They don't give a fuck about casting doubt on suicide. People do it on Epstein shit all the time. I fucking guarantee you that White Nervosa's made at least one fucking meme on her Twitter saying like, remember Epstein didn't kill himself. Guaranteed. True, actually.
Which is why the unreasonable is so important, right? Because
yes.
True, like it is the case that, hey, if there was good evidence that this was the case, or there wasn't a lack of positive evidence that should be there, then yeah, it would be not a good thing to do, absolutely. But like the act categorically of casting doubt on suicide is there's nothing immoral or like wrong about that.
Sure.
But let me see, what are some of the other stuff? Oh yeah, then there's a whole thing where apparently they try to paint it up as if I'm trying to say that I'm like I should sit in or I should be getting a vote, when it's just like I just wanted to be informed on what was going on. Another thing that was pretty interesting, this is for on point 6, not following up and providing information regarding the handling of my chatter sensitive information and connections. They write, you later state that your site's data was deleted upon your request, but that wasn't what you meant by that request, so I'm unsure if you wrote that in parts without revision. It's a very confusing sentence, but the important part is that this is what they link as my GDPR email. I've sent that to you at the moment, and I'm gonna send you what my email looks like, and I'm just gonna, it's like those activities, you know, it's like spot a difference. And here's the second one there that I sent you. This was my email as I wrote it, and essentially my email reads, greetings. As an EU citizen under GDPR, you're required to delete all my data for Whiteforce ST and all related affiliated services and websites and confirm deletion in writing. This refers to all data related to accounts, users, or clients connected to rosewrist.com. Rosewrist404@gmail.com. So essentially the structure of this is the first sentence gives like the broad strokes of my request, and then the second one specifies particularly what I'm talking about. White Nervosa is essentially making the argument here that I was talking about like the code base when I was saying this, which... Yeah,
that's what I was saying, because like you're requesting deletion of like the website and the code base, but that doesn't necessarily clue you in on what could be happening with user accounts, right?
No, I wouldn't even say that this would be considered as a code-based request to get that removed. I would say that all data related to accounts, users, or clients connected to and then my email address, I don't know why that would include a code base.
Okay, I gotcha. You meant it the other way around. Okay.
Exactly. And then when you look at the email that, or the image of the email that they attached, you can see there that suspiciously it cuts off after services/website, despite there being more to that sentence. That also says that on the same row, the new sentence where I specify what I'm talking about through saying this refers to all data related to account, that's also gone here. So it's not just that they deceptively cropped the image of my email here to not include my specification, but my specification was actually on the same line as the stuff that they wanted to include. So they not only cropped it, but also like painted over it.
Yeah, that's really weird too, because they make it look like this is the entire email. Like there's no indication that because it's not like this was cut off at the bottom. This is a whole new line that only has like 2 words on it. It's really weird. I don't know why she does this.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Or because it's like it's such a dumb way, because you can obviously just post your email and now it looks like she's like lying or covering shit up.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's like, if this was the email, then I could understand, because this is very broad, this is very nondescript. If somebody saw this and was like, okay, you know, I think this is reference to a code base, I would kind of understand. But the whole point of my second sentence is to specify so that people aren't confused about that. But that's like excluded not only through cropping, but through like directly painting over like the rest of my information in there. So that's a bit weird. And then I would say this is probably the third most significant thing that I would mention, among very many other things that I'm not gonna waste your time going into all of that, is that how they compare me messaging like the leading what I believe to be the founding system administrator for a service provider to DMing a McDonald's employee, because
yeah.
That's a bit of a weird comparison.
Yeah, it's like DMing me asking about some stuff I've said on stream, and I'm like, bro, you're DMing Stephen Bonnell right now. I'm not on stream. This isn't Destiny. I don't know what you want. Yeah, it's like really stupid. Yeah.
And like further compounding on that, it's like, I think they have absolutely like a huge founding position in this. Like I think it's named like the whole White Nervosa, White Forest, White Leaf, like the entire thing.
Yeah.
They're obviously the main face of it. They are the system administrator. They even link to their like, hey, system administrator for White Forest on their Twitter account, which is the one that I messaged. Also, the first message that they send there comes off as like it's a very official sounding message. It's like
it's not just her messaging you as a friend. And if she wanted
voted.
it to be like professional, she should have never messaged you on her account at all. Then, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can just refuse to message. You can make a public statement. You can be like, hey, you could message White Forest account instead. But they started the message like saying White Forest has voted to discontinue service to your site. I wish you the best of luck. So this is like clearly a very formal interaction.
Yeah. Well, if you're not going to pay the $3,000 cake fee, you're not going to get help like that. Yeah.
True. Oh, and then one more thing. They literally just completely skedaddle and ignore the whole thing about the standard operating procedures and the inactivity thing. They just don't mention that. And that was a huge thing because, in my opinion, that's probably one of the worst things there, where White Nervosa was tweeted out that I like agreed and consented to an operating protocol that I'd never even heard of, and that everyone I talked to about it had never heard of either. And that even if I had agreed to that, I still didn't fall out of that operating procedure because I wasn't inactive for 90 days. So like that entire thing where they just blatantly lie about my activity and the fact that I consented to something that I didn't, that's just never addressed.
I was gonna say my favorite part of the whole thing, because it was just like the most obviously like stupid thing, was the part where she was like, it looks like he actually does know how to do this, and here's proof.
Oh.
And the proof that she posts is you asking, how the fuck do I do this? Why would you do that?
I don't know. It's like, and then okay, and let's say that was fine. Okay, so the difference there is that number one, that was like, I think it was around 8 months from when we started with the whole website thing. It's been now the time period between that and today is more than twice the time period between when I did that the first time and when I was asked to change it, to change like the DNS settings there.
Yeah.
So in the double amount of time there, it's easily possible that I could forget. Furthermore, it's also the case that the standard I'm going to have for myself when I do that is going to be vastly different in the second instance compared to the former. If I mix up, that thing where they're like, hey, update your service to this, I know that even if I fuck it up a little bit, like they'll probably notice if something's not working as it should, and I'll be able to fix it, and it won't be like a big deal if I don't do it perfectly. But when it comes to this comes at the back end of them like maliciously kind of using the connection they have to redirect into things. So now it's just like, it's not like, I'm gonna like do my best and then if it fucks up, I'll get to know. Now it's like, hey, I want to make sure that I disconnect everything as much as possible. And then also,
I really do think one of the worst things that happened in all this too was the forced redirect. That's really fucking weird.
That is, yeah, I don't like that one either. That was one of the major things that just felt really unnecessary. And then they contradict that as well a bit on one of these points here. Let me see which one this is.
Or she was trying to say like, oh, well, you're saying you don't like it just because it has a Keffel sticker?
Oh yeah, like bruh, are you serious? Like at the bottom, like the contact email for that website is actually like support@Keffels or something.
Oh, nice.
So that's a funny one as well. And then this one as well, on point number 3, they're like, they didn't inform me that service to my site had been discontinued. They're like, this is not new and not unique to Rose. And they give a bunch of examples, Heme, Olake, Suris, Krabe, Rivera.life or whatever. And they're like, we didn't treat you any differently. Funnily enough, all of those websites literally have what I was asking for, which was a website under maintenance, site on them. They don't redirect to like random stuff. And then there's one more thing as well, which I just always would be interesting. But I can't show this publicly because it contains sensitive information. But I'm gonna send it to you, so don't show this on stream. Here is the email that confirms that this is essentially one of those forms you get. Will this message send? Thank you. After you call a service provider and like ask for assistance. So can you just confirm that this is essentially like asking a survey afterwards for like after getting support? Yeah. So I literally did end up having to call like a representative at my domain provider and ask them to like make sure that all my settings were reset. So I literally proof of me doing this. I've sent it to you now. I have a video as well if there's any worries about like inspect elements or some weird shit there. yeah, it's so I don't know if White Nervosa just thinks that I actually did secretly know how to do it all along, and that I just called customer service for like half an hour because I just wanted to talk to somebody. I don't fucking know. Sure. But yeah, like this is just such a bad response in like so many different ways. And yeah, I just point out some of the most crazy ways that maybe you didn't notice in your first read. But yeah, we'll see what happens now. Also, many people recommended that I post the my write-up on Vaush's subreddit. It keeps getting like auto removed.
Oh no,
so,
I'm pretty sure they will permaban anything related to you on that side. They don't care now. You're
yeah, bro, I mean they already banned me from they banned me from the Discord, and I was like, it was a waste of space there. So if there's any overlap between the mod teams or any form of
how many hours do you think you put into helping Vaush prepare like those research docs and shit?
I know it was two major ones. There was a systemic racism one, which was that one was like probably my most significant project I had going on during the summer. And then I had my worker cooperative documents as well. Which
you know that he copy pasted a lot of your research to like another big doc that he uses too, right?
Yeah, but doesn't he credit me at the top of that document?
Yeah, he does. But it wasn't about not crediting you. I just said it was funny that like he relied on your help so much in the past, and now that like because of this one thing, you're like obviously a dumb fuck biased piece of shit who's too stupid to help with any. It's just funny to me.
Yeah, no, it's pretty weird. I think that's one of the things I say as well in the bottom of my thing. How it's like, oh, everyone's like, oh, he's the data male, la la la, whatever. But then when I participate in something like this, it's like instantly, oh, you know, this person is a partisan hack. They haven't substantiated anything, whatever. Like old 1990.
It's like my new conservative fans like think I'm really based when I'm railing against lefties, but as soon as I say anything bad about Trump, they're like, Destiny, normally you're really reasonable, but you're being really biased here. It's like
exactly, but no, because those conservatives don't fucking ban you and blacklist you from everything that you share with them.
Yeah, because they don't have the opportunity to yet.
Yeah, true. Yet that is true. We'll see what happens with that if there's a pendulum swing back. But yeah, it's pretty weird. I didn't even feel like because I went over this on Relevant. I've gone over some of the main things here. Yeah, I'm not gonna make another response to this because this is just so bad. Like just opening up with just like excluding a keyword and you put quotation marks. Like holy shit, that is insane. But yeah, things are wacky out here. I don't know what to say.
Pretty wacky.
Pretty wacky. Well, we'll see what happens now. I think that the Vaush stuff is pretty much.
We're working. I'm trying to finally do my website as a service thing. We're beta testing with Mr. Grow. And we're working on like scaling out stuff. It's just a big investment. We've done a lot of like cleaning up of the code base over the past like year, I think, with a lot of people contributing, or mainly Jader. I should say mainly Jader, not a lot of people. Jader's doing most of the work. And then Cake as well on maintaining and everything. So hopefully we can start rolling that out to more people. We'll see. But yeah, but like imagine if this is like, if they were a larger business, like how much of a shit show this would be if you found out that you were like axing customer accounts because of stuff like this is like fucking
and then
insane.
Like lying about the customer as well, like on Twitter afterwards, and just like oh, you know, they like, I don't know, that feels a lot. I know a lot of people have been saying like, oh, you should pursue legal action. I don't think that there is
probably
I don't think that
and
they
probably don't even have any money to
anything.
go after, so it's like no
I don't think there is anything, but if anything gets the closest to it, it's probably saying that I consented to like some form of agreement that I hadn't even seen, because that's really crazy stuff. And it's not only I hadn't seen it, but like every single person I talked to hadn't even heard of it. So yeah, I
do think there's kind of this scary idea of like, you've heard the saying, there are no bad tactics, only bad targets.
Yep.
I guess in looking at you, I also noticed, you ever notice it like whenever somebody goes to jail for like drug possession, people are like, oh, like justice should be rehabilitative, like this is really wrong, it's not good to do this, blah blah blah. But then when somebody goes to jail for things that people like don't like, they're like, oh, I hope that guy gets fucking gang raped by everyone in jail until he dies from ass cancer. And people are like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, there was something on display with the Rittenhouse thing, right? Wasn't there that big like journalist that tweeted like, oh, this is the same face like he's gonna make on the first day in the prison showers?
Oh yeah. Ooh, yikes. I do remember that, yeah. But I was gonna say, you're seeing it a lot now. There was in Vaush's subreddit, there's a comment with like, 150 downvotes where people, he was basically saying like, yeah, like I definitely think Alex Jones should lose all of his money. Like there should be like huge retribution or like huge action against him, but I don't want him to see him like homeless and like dying on the streets or something. And the next response that got like 150 upvotes was like, I hope Alex Jones is so homeless and he broadcasts how homeless and miserable he is until he fucking kills himself. I'm like, oh my God.
Okay, I will say like, how does that, how do you even civilly, like for almost $1 billion? That seems...
I don't know what that... Okay, so here's the explanation I saw by a few lay Reddit lawyers. Okay. Apparently, when you get into certain types of damages for things like this, the goal isn't just to like pay retribution or pay damages to the families affected. Supposedly, it's one is to heavily discourage people from doing it in the future, and two, it's to punish you for if you're just being like a flagrant abuser, if you're just being a huge piece of shit. And somebody went through in detail that Alex Jones had like reiterated this Sandy Hook thing even after walking it back like 3 or 4 separate instances, like periods of time. He kept doing this, number one. And number two, apparently, even while he was in court, I don't know if this is true, but I'm repeating what I said on a Reddit comment. If this is not true, somebody tell me. But apparently, even while he was going to court, he implied that the judge on his case was part of like a pedophile ring. And then even during court, he was being like very difficult with all the proceedings and everything. But like basically, it was like, okay, well, you're getting slapped with a huge thing here because you have to learn a lesson, and a massive fucking fine is probably going to be the only way to do it. So the idea of like, okay, well, you're going to get fined $2 million so that you can just continue to move on is like probably not going to be something that would discourage the behavior in the future. Hence the huge damages. Yeah, but like almost $1 billion. Like that's like a significant part for like any like political budget. Like actually, it's an incredible amount. The one thing I did think about in connection with all this was like, let's say that you are subject to some like extremely fucked up behavior from somebody who, there's a word for this, there's a Latin term for when somebody gets civilly sued but they're essentially incapable to pay the damages. Where like if somebody did something really terrible to you but they're just incapable of paying the damages, if maybe the state should at some point like bail some of those costs out and be like, hey, you were subject to something, the person you're suing, they don't have the money to be able to pay for that, but as a state, if they don't have the money to pay for it themselves, we'll like pitch in like a third of what you are entitled to from this person. But I mean, the issue then is that might cause a bunch of like more frivolous lawsuits where things that happen, perpetrated by people who have no money are essentially taken to court more and more because there's now the potential of the state paying there. But yeah, it feels kind of weird that you can get huge damages on paper, but then if the person can't pay it, then it's like, well, I guess I'm just like stood here. That's life.
Oh, one more thing as well, because this is one of the things I hear going around all the time, which is a thing about how the and I don't understand how this lack of like, this is. Did you see like the immigrant thing? That I don't know what to fucking say. I don't know if that's how I'm meant to say it, but that White Nervosa posted as well on their Twitter.
What happened?
Let me send this to you. An archive as well, because you gotta archive all these things.
Can I open this publicly or?
Yes, you can. So once again, so here, a first example we have again where for some reason they cannot see the word unreasonably there, because they show a picture of my text where it's highlighted, and then down like below it they say claims that the document casts doubt on individual suicides or calling for the reinstatement of Kiwi Farms is absurd. So again, they're just excluding the word unreasonably for some fucking reason. Don't know why.
Oh, sure.
But yeah. And then below as well, where it's like we have never principally called for the reinstatement of Kiwi Farms. And then they attach an image of like the document literally saying Cloudflare releases a more concise statement for dropping Kiwi Farms or else reinstates their service. Like the main thing isn't there like, oh, we're trying to get like Kiwi Farms back up. It's that, hey, there's many ways that Cloudflare can do this, can make a proper statement that creates a good precedent, that creates a clear like level of information about, hey, this is what you were banned for. Like, for example, if they want to do it like, hey, any place that hosts personal information about individuals or like private information and kind of post that publicly, for people to get access to without that person's consent, we're not going to support them as Cloudflare. If that was their opinion and they enforced that consistently, that would have been a perfectly good statement.
Yeah.
And if they remove gateway, that's fine. So like a statement like that is what we're looking for. But if they are incapable of providing a statement like that and therefore set like a really messy precedent, which we don't even know what that precedent is because they don't specify anything in their statement, then in that instance, then like if you can't provide a clear reason that is very like clearly described, then you shouldn't probably remove somebody if you can't justify the reasons. But the main thing there is not like, oh, we want Kiwi Farms back. It's we want a good statement.
Yeah.
And they literally like link a sentence that has the core thing at the very beginning, which is a concise statement. And then as a contingency, assuming they fail on that first point, which is a really easy thing to do. There's many ways you could do this. I sound like Demon Mama there, but I gave an example before. So yeah, it's like, okay, otherwise then reinstate their service. But that is by no means like the primary thing that's been called for there.
Sure.
And then again, for some reason, it's stuck in their head that we have at any point denied casting doubt on suicide. It's unreasonably, that's a whole thing. And then we have the incorrectly or cropped and colored over email at the very bottom of the document. But yeah, I don't know. It's just
pretty memes.
It's crazy. Yeah, people are weird. But I think those were the main things I just wanted to get through.